It's a beautiful day. Woo! And I'm just taking a ride after work. I had an experience that I'd like to share with you guys. It was really interesting. So I traveled with a group. We were 13 and there was just one other lady. Oh, I think I'm gonna stay here. I love this spot. Let's find a place to park. So I want to talk about how wrong I have been in terms of judging people not in a negative sense. So just hear me out for a second. So I used to think I was a good judge of character. I mean, I pride myself on being a good judge of character, but I think I was wrong this time around. So like I said before, I've just come back from a trip with a group and we went to Georgia. It was amazing. It was one of the most natural looking places I've ever been to. Like, everywhere is so green. It's one of the greenest places I've ever been to. It was truly a fantastic holiday. And the fact that there was just one other female in the trip meant that I had to spend 2 weeks in the company of another lady. Now, this is not the first time that I'm meeting her. I've met her before. This was my third trip in a group with her, but previously there were other women, so I didn't have to spend so much time with her. But I thought I knew who she was, and based on that judgment, especially the second time, I just felt like, okay, I don't think that there's anything we have in common. I don't think that I could continue to be friends with her. I mean, and I could go beyond a certain way of interacting with her. I thought it was just going to be, hey, what's up? Hello, how are you? How's the trip? How's it going? And all of that. But I was wrong. And I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm not ashamed to admit that, because I'm still on a journey of learning. I feel that life is a journey and we have to enjoy the journey. We have to experience the journey. You know, there's a beginning and there's an end. We know what the beginning is and we know how it's going to end. So it's the in-between that counts. And so I'm on a continual quest to learn about the world around me, people, and to learn about myself, right? So let me get to the point here. So I had formed an opinion of this lady. I thought she was a bit bigoted. I thought that she was a bit racist. I don't know if you can be a bit racist or just racist, but I thought she held some racist ideas. I knew where she was coming from. I knew because of the kinds of interactions that she's had with foreigners, especially Africans, North Africans, West Africans, mostly East Africans. And the kinds of things that she would say. So we had traveled in the past to Morocco and Tunisia, and she would say things like, oh, I hate how the men treat the women. I hate how the religion treats women. I don't like very strong opinions she had. You know, she would use words like hate. She would use the words like disgusting, you know, and I just felt like, ugh, you know, I would just defend sometimes the culture, or I would ask questions like, so if you hate it so much, then why are you here? Why have you chosen to travel to their country? And I mean, it's not my group, so if she's in the group, fine. And there are other redeeming qualities about her. She's not all bad. But I just felt like this is not someone that I could be in the same room with for a very long time. And we just respected ourselves and went, you know, each other's ways. And I guess that she also formed her own opinion of me. However, on this trip, we were kind of forced to spend more time with each other. And that led us to getting to know each other much deeper and more closer, you know. And come to find out that she isn't as bad as I thought that she was. I just needed to give her more of an opportunity. I needed to give myself as well listening not listening. What's the word I want to use? I needed to give myself, or should I say, I needed to open my mind and be ready to listen to her opinions, to listen to where she was coming from. Okay, so she's a police officer, and police officers see the worst of humanity. So she's been around the worst of the worst. She's been around people who have broken the law, people who have treated their women a certain way, people who continue, okay, to break the law. But she hasn't lived the experience. She hasn't had the experience of seeing it from those who don't, those who come from the same culture but don't. And in the same light, I have seen her and some other people from Italy, some other Italians, from a certain point of view, from a certain perspective, and I haven't seen them from other sides. So I was, this time around, I came to realize that everyone deserves to be heard, no matter how bigoted their opinions may be. People are nuanced. There's always a reason behind why people think the way they do. There might be a conditioning, there might be a personal experience, they might have gotten burnt personally, but there's always a story behind how people have become who they are. If you look at people like Elon Musk, there's a story behind that. There's a story behind how he decided to be who he is today. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that in this video. So she opened herself up to me. She didn't present as someone who knew everything. She asked questions this time around. She asked questions about me, and she listened to me. That is the biggest takeaway. And I was ashamed because I heard a few sentences from her and I wasn't ready to listen to her anymore. And before we went on the trip, I was thinking to myself, like, I don't know how I'm going to survive with this lady for 2 weeks. And I was ashamed of myself. I had to admit this to her. It wasn't easy. It was difficult for me to do, but I had to tell her, like, you're not what I thought you were, even though I felt like I had known you the past 3 years. But it was just from 2 trips. It was just from a few lines that she would write in the group chat. And of course, not being Italian myself, I don't get Italian humor. Not being a police officer myself, I don't get the crude humor that they would express between themselves. And likewise, it was the same with me. She doesn't understand my culture. She doesn't understand African culture beyond what she sees. She doesn't understand African culture beyond what's portrayed on the news in Italy, beyond what she sees in her office, beyond what she sees in the crimes that are committed by Africans in Italy. And so I was very excited when she started asking me questions about, how people are, where I'm from, the men, the women, the religion, how we relate with each other. So everyone knows around the world about Boko Haram, and people just think that Nigeria is just infested by Boko Haram, and they have no idea that it's just a small part of the country. I have never witnessed Boko Haram in my life before. I've never seen them. I don't know anyone who's been affected by them. And it doesn't negate the fact that they are there, but it also doesn't negate the fact that many of us in Nigeria have never experienced them and will never experience them. Okay? It doesn't negate the fact that many Muslims and Christians in Nigeria live together in harmony. I used to celebrate Muslim holidays with my Muslim friends. They used to celebrate Christian holidays with me and my Christian friends and family, and we have this harmony between us, but that's coming from a different region, a different part of the country. Now, another thing is she would tend to criticize. She criticizes a lot at first glance. So we're in Georgia. and we meet the people, and they're kind of crude. They're not very, how would I say, they're not exactly the most polite people. They're friendly, but they're not exactly friendly in the most polite way, or at least in what I would consider polite coming from my society, and what she would consider polite coming from her society. So she would say things like, oh my God, these people are so rude, or these people are really uncouth, and these people have no culture, or stuff like that. And I would tell her, listen, you have to see things from their own point of view. They have a different culture. They have a different way to see things, to approach people, to approach foreigners. Or she would say things like, oh, the poor people, look at how they are living. They're lacking a lot. And I'm like, have you spoken to them? Have you actually tried to get to know them, to know who is actually happy and who is not happy? How can you judge who has everything in life? How can you judge who is happy with what they have and who is not happy? How can you judge that a group of people don't have what they need in their society to thrive or to be happy? Maybe what they have is enough for them. Have you considered that? And she was willing to listen. And I didn't think that she was that kind of person before. And I'm so ashamed. I was so wrong. You need to give people the opportunity to show you who they are. And the only way to do that is to have conversations with them, to observe them closely, and not to just group them in with a group of people or with an ideology or with an identity marker, right? So this was a learning journey for me. I learned a lot about the place that I visited, but not only that, but I also learned a lot about human complexity and not judging a book by its cover, as well as not completely giving up on people, not giving up on humanity, and not giving up on finding connection where I least expected it. It was really beautiful what we had together, and how she also expressed, how much she had learned from me, but not only from me, but from the people around her, and how she saw things differently. So that when other people in the group made similar statements, she told them, like, maybe they're happy with what they have. Maybe they're happy with who they are, with how they are, with the little that they have. Or this is their culture, and I felt like, oh my God, she's repeating what I said to her. It means that she's processing it. She has processed it. And so I learned, and I started observing her from different eyes. And I was able to see that sometimes the statements she made were just surface. Like, that's just how she was. She would just react immediately without thinking, and then she would adjust. She would say things like, that looks awful, that dish looks awful, Italian food is the best. But then I would see her make an attempt to actually try it out and eat it. And sometimes she still would hate it. Other times she would like it. She'd say, oh, it's not that bad. But I got to know that was just how she was. That was just how she expressed herself. And I hope that she also found out something new about me, and that the 2 weeks that we spent together, she was able to change, or I was able to change her opinion of me. I don't know. I didn't ask her. I'm not that kind of person who would ask someone like, okay, so tell me, what do you think about me? If you want to share what you think about me with me, I'm very open to listening to that, but I wouldn't ask you that question. So I also hope that we were able to learn from each other, because I did learn a lot from her. I learned from her experience, but I also learned from the interaction that we had this time around, and that there can be good in people, okay? Don't get me wrong. I know that some people are just plain assholes, and they will continue to be so. I know that some people are very shallow, and they will continue to be so. But if I want to have deeper connections, or if I want to effect a change in other people, I can't close myself off completely. That's the main takeaway that I got from that experience, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So what do you think? Have you had similar experiences? I would love to know. Let me know in the comment section, in the comment box below, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Ciao, ciao.